I am Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Abstract Essay, where ideas take shape, thoughts find depth, and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest. He is a fellow podcaster like me, none other than Mr. Pete A. Turner.
Yeah, I love what you do, Daniel Lucas. It's great, man. You always put a smile on my face, and you get it.
Yeah.
You get what we do. So thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, and for sure, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today, let's talk about podcasting itself.
Okay,
So, tell
let's
us,
do it.
what is the danger of launching a podcast without crystal clear purpose or a defined target audience? And how does it mistake manifest in the show's growth?
I think the crystal clear purpose thing is important. If your purpose is to just have a good time or make a difference, that's a hobby, and you should start there and see if the show earns your time and your money. That's a good place to go. And chances are, like most things, you won't make it very far, and that's all right. And you might have to take 3 or 4 starts. You might have to redefine the show over 2, 3 years, even sometimes, if you're going to make that work. That crystal clear purpose is important, and it shouldn't be driven by money at first, because you have to earn the right to make money in this world. So I would say that crystal clear purpose, the lack of it, it doesn't really matter, because either you have it and you develop it, or you don't have a show. So that's just the truth, that you won't survive in the podcast world without a reason for doing it. You have to want to. Daniel, you know how hard it is. Just now, you and I both struggled trying to get
Yes, true. Eh,
our show, your heart, so many things. So that purpose will be realized, even if you miss the mark on what it is. It's a practice, it's a meditation. You have to want to do this all the time. If you don't feed your show constant effort, you don't feed it money when you can, when you're able, uh, it won't make it, it won't survive. So it won't matter if you don't have the crystal clear purpose. The outcome is inevitable. You won't succeed. So yes, you have to have that purpose. You have to have that grit. You have to have that thing, and if you have to develop it, that's okay. So you can say the purpose of this show is crystal clear, is to just test the waters, to see if we can do this 10 times. 10 is already insurmountable. And if you get to 10, can you get to 20? Can you get to 50? And then you just add on to it. And then you start to realize what your purpose is, if you don't already think you know what it is.
Definitely. And why is it having a podcast that is for everyone actually as shown for no one? How can be hyper specific niche for that?
Yeah. I don't know that niches matter in a lot of cases. I'm not certain that that's the case. If you have a business podcast and you're speaking about franchises or whatever, okay, great, that's a niche. But even then, you should carve out people around that niche, because there's people that are adjacent to your industry that are interesting and they contribute. And all of a sudden, you've carved out a bigger niche, and now you've got more of a canyon. And then you reach out one more layer, and you bring in salespeople into the franchise world, and all of a sudden now your niche becomes this bigger universe of people. And so I wouldn't by design limit what you do, because at some point, if you do 100 shows in your niche, you've probably talked to everybody relevant in that niche, or about the same thing enough times, that you have to be able to expand your practice. Now, look, prove me wrong with 100 shows that do a hyper specific thing all the time. But I think it's more important that you create quality with what you do. Not necessarily the audio visual quality, of course that matters, but how do you drive value for the people who watch? And if they're in a niche, it's not bad to collect niches like grapes and just have a
Mhm.
bunch of grapes on your vine. So think about a niche for sure, how to speak to that niche, but also don't forget, on that same vine is another little niche, and these are all related in a chain, and you can speak to a lot more people that way. That's kind of my thoughts on niches, but I don't know. What do you think, Daniel?
I think we have the same thought. just like what I'm doing, Food 101, Book
Yep.
101, and
Yep.
Sex 101. It's just like you're offering different genre of podcasting. So, Mr. Pete, many podcasts launch with excitement but fizzle out. What are the
Yeah.
key elements of sustainable plan that most new podcasters fail to create before hit record?
It's again, this, as you know, this is hard and it's easier to not do it, right? So it's great to have that super high. We all have that when we first start. But what do you do immediately after that high? I send my email out to that guest to thank them. I look at the internet and I find two more guests and I pitch them. And I consistently work, right? There, excitement is great. Get excited, stay excited, learn how to get your fans excited, how to talk and be excited. Learn all of that stuff. But you have to constantly feed your show energy. Energy, energy, energy. If you're going to do one episode a month, probably think about doing something else because that's not going to be, unless you're putting a lot of work in behind the scenes. Like the longer between episodes, the more hours per episode you have to put in to script it, to improve the quality. It's a very, very competitive game, that podcasting world. And so if you aren't prepared to put a lot of time and money and effort into your show, yeah, start there. How do I build time and capacity? How much time do I have to do? Do I have 10 hours a week to put into this? No. Do something else. Do something else because you're not going to have enough time to build a show and that excitement will quickly fizzle away. So figure out what capacity you have. I mean, start, record, have a good time, do all that stuff, right? But you have to constantly figure out how to reorganize your plate so you can fit your podcast on it. And the podcast will bear fruit 100%, but you have to plant it, water it, feed it, nurture it, everything, prune it. You've got to do all that stuff all the time. It never, ever, ever stops needing your attention. It's like having an infant. And if you don't pay attention to that infant all the time, it it'll get in trouble real fast. It'll get sick. It'll get lost. It'll fall down the stairs, whatever it is. An early podcast is like that. So excitement is great. Get excited. Bottle that
Mm,
excitement. Learn how to reproduce it reliably over and over again. And yeah, then you got a chance. You got a chance.
you get a chance, people. And it's true what Mr. Pete said. Podcasting is just like a planting a tree. You need
Yeah.
to nurture it to bear fruit. And what are the telltale signs of an unprepared host? And what is the minimum level of preparation needed to sound professional yet conversational?
Yeah. I do essentially no prep for my show, but understand I've done 2,000 episodes. Understand before that I was a spy and I learned how to talk to people and I had thousands of interviews of people, right? So my level of prep is different because I've done it in the past already, right?
Hmm.
Now there are certain books I'll read and certain things I'll reference. I don't go completely in cold all the time, but unless you have that kind of a background, and you're a salesperson or you're a marketing person and you know how to do networking, all that, okay, yeah, you probably have a lot of chops already on board. But if not, you have to figure out what level of preparation you owe, not yourself, right? Like, of course, you've got to be comfortable, but what do you owe the audience and what do you owe the guest? And if you don't think about what they deserve from you, did they deserve you to read that book so you can ask a unique question? Yeah, probably. Even if you thumb through the book and you find a chapter and you read that and you ask questions out of that, that's already miles ahead of someone who does nothing, who isn't capable of doing zero prep. So I would say you have to find the amount of prep that you're comfortable with so that you can ask something unique. You can't just ask bio questions anymore. That those days are over. Uh, we've all seen that, and you'll get turned off faster than anybody else if you just ask, "Hey, tell me your origin story." Like you've got to do better than that. You can do an origin story, but you've got to dig in a different way so that it's fascinating to the audience because they've seen this person on other things, and your show is not going to survive. So yeah, Daniel, the prep and how you do prep and the style of prep and how do you find that unique thing? That's the professional skill you have to develop for sure.
Definitely. And Mr. Pete, beyond being interesting, what does it truly mean to provide value to a listener? And how do failing podcasts miss this mark?
Mm. When you're running your show, when you're hosting, you have to do several things at one time. Right now, you hear me, I'm not umming and awing and you knowing and liking. Now, I might do that, but it's by design for color. So, what I owe the audience is to learn how to hear myself speak and to control the words that come out of my mouth, to know when to shut up. On my show, Daniel, sometimes I'll have a guest and another host and they'll talk. And when they get cooking, you know what I do? I get back into Seattle back here like this. And I just let them talk because I've done my job. And
Yes.
that's what I owe the audience. Now, when they get far off the course, I may come back in and be like, let me grab you guys for a second and ask you this question. And then I may send them off again. And then I sit back in the back seat, right? But but I know how to do that. I'm listening to what the audience needs, what the guest needs, and what the show needs. All three of these entities require different things. And so I've got to learn how to manage all of that in real time. If you're not going to do that, it's fine, but I would say that's not the best practice. I think the best practice is to understand where the value is in your show and accentuate the value, even if you have to slow down. Like right now, someone's listening to this show and they're probably doing the dishes or something like that. So I have
Mhm.
to say to them, hey, pay attention right here. I'm going to tell you something really important. Stop doing the dishes for a second and think about this. If you won't take the time to listen to your own show when you start it, why will anybody else? If you can't get over what you sound like, right? Like you're
Yes.
very controlled in how you speak, Daniel. I am too, right? We have different styles, but that's fine. We understand that the guests and the audience, they deserve to hear the best version of us. And sometimes I get excited and my voice gets really high and I get it like I get like that, but then I know to bring myself back down, center my chest, my voice in my chest, and then get back to work. All of that is the stuff that we owe professionally to have a good show. And when you don't do that, it stands out. I was on a show earlier today. It doesn't matter what show it was, and I could see the host was immature in his skills. Still doing a great job, still knowledgeable, but the presentation wasn't there. The energy wasn't there, and so I was happy to do their show. I hope they do well, but they've got to improve their presentation, their hosting of the show, and that's a professional skill. So it's okay to not be great at it at episode 50 because it does take time, but you have
Yes.
to be cognizant. You have to listen to your own stuff. You have to find the value so that you can accentuate it for the audience.
You need to make your craft as you goes by. I mean, you learn your craft as you goes by.
Yeah,
Learn it, live it, and develop it.
right.
So, how
Yeah.
crucial are the first 60 seconds of a podcast? And what are the most common mistakes hosts make that cause listeners to click away immediately?
Gosh, that's a tough question. I mean, I think that's so specific to the show host. I would say this is just a taste on like style. This is all this is. I turn my show on. I don't do a bio. I leave that to the audience. They all know how to look things up on the internet. So I don't waste a second on, hey, this is Daniel Lucas and he lives in wherever, I don't do that. I let them go like, this is Daniel Lucas. You guys know what to do. So,
Uh-huh.
and then I dig in and usually I'll say something to get the conversation started, right? And because it's my show. But if I threw the ball to you and said, what's the most interesting thing, you've done today or whatever it was, I might kick the ball to you. Who knows? But there's design in that and I'm comfortable with that. If you've got a long intro, like your song was short, it was great, right? Like that's money. If you've got like a 2 minute long intro with music and pictures, I'm clicking that off. I'm fast forwarding through that. I don't need that. Just start the damn thing. Get to work and get the show started. You want to bring in a theme song? That is great. That's fantastic. Do it. But it's tough to get people to pay attention more than even 10 seconds. So
True.
what are you going to do in those first 10 seconds? Then you might have somebody stay on longer. But you and I both see the numbers. It just goes down like that, right? And so you're
True.
like, wow, I lost people all of the time. As seasoned as I am, and you hear Daniel laughing because he knows it too, it is hard to get people to pay attention. And so you have to always be cognizant of that. You have to always engage with the audience. They don't have to give them what they want, but you need to give them what they need. And you have to figure out what that is.
Mm, must be interesting. People. So, what are the unique pitfalls of hosting a solo show versus an interview based show? And how can a podcaster avoid them?
Yeah, there's pitfalls everywhere. I think it's just the same thing as always. How do you get better? How do you end up doing enough shows to, because if you don't do 100 shows, over 100 shows, you're going to get better. You're going to find things that you want to add, find things you want to subtract. You're going to be more practiced. You're going to listen to yourself. You're just going to get better, right? So you'll avoid a lot of pitfalls by just doing that work, by just doing the work of doing the work will make you better at it. Whatever your practice is, if you're going to learn how to be a boxer, you might do some visualization training, but at some point you have to put gloves on and you have to go get beat up because you're not very good yet, right? It's no different in this job. I mean, you have to go out
True.
and be like, that was a horrible show. And this is the key. It's my fault. It's my show. It's my fault. It's not the gal. The guest wasn't. No, if you hear yourself saying the guest did this, that's you. That's on y'all. You have to fix that yourself. And those are the things that become pitfalls and kind of drain away. And by the way, if you get your heart broken, I should say, when you get your heart broken by your show and something doesn't go your way, you have got to get over it. And if it takes you 2 weeks, then it takes you 2 weeks. But things are going to happen on your show. You're going to lose an entire show. You're going to miss the right question. All these things are going to happen and they're going to make you want to quit because it hurts because you pour your life and your heart into these things. And when it
Mhm.
doesn't go your way, it especially is painful, right? And so that's a pitfall, is to think that these negative things aren't going to happen. It's going to be out of your control. Again, I wrestled with my computer for about 20 minutes tonight to get it to turn on and connect to Riverside. Um, I was
Apology.
no, it wasn't you. It was this. In this case, it was me, and I just could not get my machine to work, and I was struggling, and then yeah, like for whatever reason, we double booked, right? And so I'm
Yes.
like, which link is it? And so I was trying to figure all this out, and I was getting all hot and sweaty because I don't want to fail you, right?
Mhm.
Because I know what it means. This is what I'm saying. Like, that's my show. That's your show. Like, I'm investing this time, and it breaks your heart a little bit to be like, oh man, I let Daniel down. I didn't let you down, but that's what we believe. That's a pitfall. So
Yeah.
know that there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be catastrophes. Technology is going to fail you. You're going to fail you. And then get over it. Because if you don't, there's just too many pitfalls. And you're going to be like, so and so didn't show up. I quit. Or I forgot and I missed one. I forget. I make mistakes all the time with booking. I do my best to not do it, but it just happens. And it's
True.
hard to be perfect when you are a small shop and you do everything. Like Daniel
Mhm.
does everything. I do every. There's so much work to do. You're
True.
going to make mistakes. You're going to misspell people's names. It breaks my heart every time I do it. I want to fix it. And so I do, right? You laugh because like, I want to get this stuff
True.
right.
Yes.
And then it can make you want to quit. So I would say that's a big pitfall, is you're going to make mistakes, accept that, fix them, move on, and be ready for the next mistake because it's coming no matter what you do.
Yes.
But the rewards are way better than the heartbreak. Way, way, way better.
Yes, let it go, people, and learn from your mistake. Let it go, and don't be afraid to commit mistake because you will learn from your mistake. You will be better, best, and excellent of what you did for 2 months or 3 months or 1 year ago. So, Mr. Pete, if you had to choose one, what is the single most offensive audio quality mistake?
Oh. Uh, I don't think about it that way. This is what I've learned, right? So if someone's a little late, hey, I'm sometimes late. If someone needs to rebook at the last minute, hey, I need to do the same thing sometimes. And so it's just sort of the nature of things. Like this is, Coca-Cola is not a big sponsor. They're not relying on me. And so I've gotten a lot less precious with the things that used to give me offense. Because what am I going to do? Let me say this in a different way. If I'm gathering a offense, if I'm collecting it from like, this is a mistake you made, what am I going to do with that offense? I can't trade it for anything. I just sits in my heart and it hurts. And so I'm like, it's not that I don't care. I don't allow it to impact me. So when something happens, like let's say you and I book a show, not you, I don't want to use you, but let's say I book a show on Pod, but we both use Podmatch, and the person flakes and never talks to me again. As much as possible, I try to not worry about that. I'll still be professional. I'll allow them the mistake. It's fine. We all have these moments. No big deal. I forgive it. And then
Mhm.
I'll send a note to them. Hey, if you want to be on the show, just reach back. And I might even go back in and be like, just checking on you. If you want to be on the show, let me. And if they've quit and that's it, that's fine. I don't keep that offense. I just let
True.
it go. So I don't know what the worst thing is because I've had people cancel on me 5 minutes before the show, right? And I survived it. So it's just it's fine. It's fine. This is part of the pitfalls of what we do. There's going to be times when things fail. It's just there. Or that show that you've been so excited about. You're going to have the wonderful Daniel Lucas on your show, and your internet just will not stay up. Not a thing you can do about it, right? And
Yeah.
so you've just been so desperate to be like to shine, and oh yeah. So I don't worry that much about the it's just not always been true. This has not always been true. I was very precious about things for a long time. And it's not that I don't care. I just don't assign much value to it now. So, yes, I want to
Mhm.
be on time. Yes, I want you to be on time. But if we start 5 minutes late, I consider that early. Like, I just changed the way I see all that stuff, and it's a lot easier on my soul.
True. Let it go, people,
Let it
and
go.
let it go. That's the that's the number one. I think about yourself that mess or something wrong happen anytime. So let it
Yeah,
go.
let it
Come
go.
on. Life is so sweet. Life is so short. And enjoy being a podcaster. How
Yeah.
can a podcaster learn to critically listen to their own audio like first time listener would to identify these quality issues?
We have to listen to your show. You have to listen to it. If you want to get even better, write down what you don't like. And it's not like I hate my stupid voice. You're going to get used to hearing your voice. Can you work on your voice? Yes. Can you drink a little tea or have something to wet your throat? Yeah. Okay, great. All of that stuff can, but for the most part, it's more about you and your cadence and your excitement level. Like right now, I'm talking dead into the camera. I'm not doing this, looking at my computer, right? And so, look, my shot is aesthetically pleasing. My camera is in line with my eyes in a way that makes sense. All of these things are the things that are going to matter. So when you review your show and it looks the way you want, as much as you can get it there, and it behaves the way you want, those are the things that you owe yourself so that you're proud of what you're putting out. And if you're proud of what you're putting out, you do care about it. You don't get precious about it, but you do care about it, and you're prideful and you've taken the time to make it good enough for someone else to watch. And then you can wrestle with all the rest of us on how many people you can get to watch your show, because that's not easy either. But I guess that's my counsel on that is again, make your show better at all times. Round out the edges, remove the weeds, find the things that truly matter and invest in those. And the things like here's an example, Daniel. I don't publish my show to podcast platforms. I don't do it because it
Mhm.
doesn't do anything for me. Yes, people will listen and now they're not. And that's fine. They can go to YouTube or not. They can go to Facebook or not. They can go to X or not. It doesn't matter to me because I can't reliably get that part of the audience to engage with me in a way that makes sense. And if I can't communicate with them, if I can't drive any revenue with them, well, then I'm not trying to be famous. I'm trying to be effective. And so for me and my show, I don't need to publish on those channels. It just takes extra time and money that I would rather put into other things. And so I'll double back. I'll listen to old shows. I'll ask I'll take that time to invest into my show. And I find that for me, in the way I approach it, that's a lot better than in this case, publishing on Apple Podcast. Apple Podcast doesn't care about me. They they've never once sent me an email saying, "Hey, thanks for giving us all this content." That they've never once been a good business partner. So I just don't find value in that, but I find value in being able to engage with my audience as close to humanity as possible. I want to get together with these folks. I want to sit with them. I want to have lunch with them. I want to hear what they have to say. I don't care about Apple Podcasts. I don't care about Google Podcast. I don't care about those things because that's good for Apple and Google. It's not good for me.
Yes, the main reason is to empower people all over the
Yes.
world. And we salute you for that, Mr. Pete. And why is it inconsistent publishing schedule more damaging the audience growth than mediocre content on a perfect schedule?
Yeah, boy, you said a lot right there. One of the things you have to get over with all this stuff is you can pour your heart into an episode and it can fizzle. It's not necessarily your fault. If you've done all the things we've talked about here, improved your show and everything else, and an episode fizzles, a lot of that is just how the algorithm treats your show. And it's very hard to improve that. People will tell you, oh, all you have to do is keywords or SEO or whatever. Yeah, that's not really the problem. And like if you If you're on a search platform and you type in Pete A. Turner, maybe I come up, but it's a decent chance that despite all of my effort over all of these years that I don't. And and even if I do come up, it'll be two or three things probably, and then it'll be like whatever the thing you love is. And so it won't be, even though I've got 2,000 episodes on my show, and I'm not plugging my show, I'm just saying I've done all this work. It won't give you pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages of Pete, even though it should. That's not how the algorithm works on the search side. So all this stuff, you're fighting a lot of different dragons, and it's not reliable that you can beat them. So when you think about where you're going to put your time and effort, discovery matters. I would say this. This is different than Daniel's question. Sorry, Daniel. I would say
No
work on
worries.
discovery, but use humans to create discovery. Find the most popular show anywhere near your genre and invest time and maybe even money in that show and see if that host will have you on their show because that trade is there's a value in that. They've got a big audience of 10,000 people. Wow. Okay. How do I get access to that? Can I give you 250 bucks to come on your show and be a guest? And if they say yes to that, you're going to get an instant shot of attention on that show. And some of that is going to convert back to your show, right? So like you've got to find ways that aren't doing what everybody else is doing. If you do what everybody else does, keywords and SEO and perfect titling and all that stuff and the thumbnail, here's there's a lot of ways to do this. So do it the way you think, right? But if you go on YouTube and you post a picture like this, Pete and Daniel discuss shocking realities of podcast or whatever it is, right?
Yes.
That's a bunch of hocus pocus. Yes, they want you to have this face. They want that. I'm not doing that because that's not genuine to who I am, and that tears away at my heart. And so I don't do that because it's not what I want to do. But that is a path to getting discovered. That makes the robot happy, and so it will feed your show to more people potentially. But you still have to compete on quality, and it's hard to know what that is until you've done enough shows. So that's what I would say about all of that is figure out what matters to you, figure out what you can do reliably and repeatedly, do that so you can compete. Because I guarantee you, nobody at Joe Rogan's staff is worried about keywords. Nobody is. And
Nobody.
nobody at any of the
Yes.
big shows. They're not worried about that stuff because it's not relevant. What matters is can you be discoverable to the podcast world? And that takes a lot of different things. And you can waste a lot of time researching perfect words and get nothing for it. And if you don't believe me, go test it for yourself. And if you figure it out, sell that,
Mm.
package that. That's your product. If you can reliably figure out how to get your show discovered and you can reliably find keywords, that is valuable to people like me and everybody. I'm not going to speak for Daniel, but all kinds of people would want to know how to do that because I've tried a lot of different ways. I've paid for a lot of services and none of them reliably deliver. So if you can do that, man, oh man, that's a product.
We salute you for that. If you can do that.
Yeah.
And also, Pete, for interview-based shows like us, what is the most common and fatal mistake hosts make with their guests, both before and during the recording?
I think beforehand, you need to express some humility and some gratitude. When
Yes.
I book someone, I don't look. This is just a Pete thing. So there's a lot of ways to do this, but this is what I do. I send out an email that I write myself every single time. I don't automate any of it, and I run my own calendar. That for me is important. That's part of the pre-booking process. So nothing wrong with automating all that. I get it. Do that if that's your thing. But I would rather use that time to talk to that person, to get their phone number, to answer any questions, figure out where they're at. And these are short conversations, but that pattern gets them more warmed up to me. And I would say that if you do it your way and it's automated and I do it my way, I'm going to have a deeper connection with the guest and I'm going to have them back on, and they're going to see value in coming on my show. They may go on your show too, but they're going to want to come on my show more. They're going to give me access to their network more. I'm going to beat you by being more human. And so I think there's a lot of value in being more human whenever possible. Sometimes you can't. Some things you got to automate. That they're just things that works like that. But you got to find those things that make you can't do what everybody else does in all the cases. Otherwise you will do the same thing that everybody else does, and you can't find the quality of uniqueness that you need to have in the podcast world.
Yes, indeed. And people want to, if you have the passion of being a podcaster. Go, go, go for it, because if you have this passion, you have the dedication to do it even if you are tired, just like me.
Yeah.
Consistency, as they said, is
Yeah.
the key.
Yeah.
Imagine I have a day job and then I'm doing podcasting from after my day job until 12. So I
Yeah.
have the passion. I'm not complaining. And I dedicated to do all these podcasts because I'm thinking this is my legacy to the world. Right, Mr. Pitt?
Yeah.
This is our
Yeah.
legacy
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
before we
Yeah.
wrap
And you
up on
don't
this,
get to,
yes, go ahead.
you're competing with everybody, right? And so, yeah, if you
Yes,
have to do it after work, that's the time you get to do it. Oh my God, I can't wait to get home so I can turn my
true.
podcast gear on and have this amazing conversation. Maybe you've got the worst job in the world and you're barely hanging on, but when you go home, you've got to light up and be like, oh my God, like when I have my clients and I'm advising them. Again, this is not a
Hmm.
pitch. It's just me talking about clients. I'm like, whatever you're doing, stop doing it, clear your mind, figure out what that is, go get a drink of water, go have a ciggy, whatever it is, get yourself right, because once you get there, you've got to turn that switch on inside of you. You can see I've got a lot of passion. You can't see my hands are here, but you can't see my hands are moving around. I'm moving my body on purpose so that I reflect the excitement about the show,
Yes.
right? And it is a thing like that. So yes, I'm exhausted. Now it's showtime. And what does Kermit T. Frog do? Like, it's time to put on makeup. It's time to light the lights. It's time to get excited for the most sensational, inspirational, Muppetational. It's the Muppet Show, right? That live
True.
that, be that thing, be genuine about it, but figure out how to flip that switch on.
Yes, definitely. Even you're tired, if you have the passion, you will do it. And
Yes.
Mr. Pete, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to all my podcast, people, because Abstract Essay is already in fifth season, Abstract Poetry in second season, my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101, Love Letters in third season, and my movie 101 review, music 101 in fourth season, and science 101 and sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Pete, if you could only give one piece of advice to a new podcaster to help them avoid the most common pitfalls, what would it be?
So scroll your little window down and try to put that back up and show all your shows. This is exactly what I want people to understand. So pull your show up at your window with that. Can you do that? Okay. So you see all these shows, everybody, that Daniel does? You can't start at this level. You can't. You have to figure out how to swim before you swim in a race. This is a
Yes.
bad dude. This is someone who goes out and does this all the time, and he is competing hard, right? It's like looking at a huge muscle man in the gym and going, I want to be that guy. You can't be that guy. You got to go do your own thing. You got to start small. You got to figure out how to be reliable and repeatable. This is, I am so impressed by you, Daniel. And every time I come on one of your shows, I'm like, I cannot believe you do all of these things. It's amazing the amount of time that goes into this. And so
True.
when you want to grow up to be something, be like Daniel, be like me, be like somebody else, be your own person when you do it. But understand that trying to be Daniel on day one, you can't. You can't do it. It's too hard. It's too much money. It's too much failure. You have to figure out your own way. So don't copy Daniel. Don't copy me. But look to us
Be
to
yourself.
understand where the pitfalls are, because that is an impressive pile of work, man. It's huge.
Baby
You're like
steps.
Kong,
Yes.
like it's
Baby
King
steps,
Kong.
people. Yes.
Yeah,
Baby
yeah.
steps. You
Baby
need
steps for sure.
to do little by little, just like me. I did
Yes.
first I did my first podcast, Abstract Essay, Food 101, Geography 101, and Book 101 review together. So they are
Mm.
now fifth season. And then little by little I add and add and add, because little boring. I think I feel bored for those four podcasts. So I did more and more and more. And I'm planning to add three more
Oh
people.
my
I'm
gosh. Look at
looking
this guy.
for Bible verse 101 this coming month.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine. So,
Yeah.
people, we are encouraging you. If you have the passion to be a podcaster, go, share to the world. Don't care what people say about you. This is will be your legacy to the world.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, for
Mr.
sure.
Pete?
Absolutely. It's changed my life. It's enriched it in so many ways. And if you saw my path, you saw me on it, you'd be like, you are a fool to stay on this path. But let me tell
Mhm.
you, it's paid off in so many ways. My life is so enriched. My friends that I have because of my show, it has been a miracle. And so when people want to make fun of, oh, you're a podcaster, like, man, I've been a podcaster over 10 years, 2,000 episodes. My buddy
Yeah.
Daniel's got 27 shows. It's like, it's so wonderful on this side. Like once you get over here where we are, you'll get it. It's all worth it. It's not for everybody. You'll know if it's not. But if it is, hurry up and get over here with us because it's great.
Yes, it's a great, it's priceless, people. If one of 8 billion on earth will empower your podcast, it's something else. It's your legacy to the world. So, Mr. Bate, thank you so much for your time. And can you please invite our listeners to support your podcast itself?
Go to breakitdownshow.com, or even better, go to YouTube and just type in Pete A. Turner. I'll come up. I'm on X. I'm glad to help you. Pete at breakitdownshow.com. That's my real email. I answer almost every single email that comes through. So if you want my advice on something, great. Talk to Daniel. Listen to his shows. He knows this stuff. I have huge respect for Daniel's game. I hope you all find a journey, whatever it is, whether it's podcasting or not, that you can go on and that you do great things.
Yes, likewise, Mr. Pete. You add something today that I will bring to all my podcasts. So, people, let's support Mr. Pete. Please, let's support him so that more and more episodes of the podcast itself. So, more to come, people. See you soon.